bathing water quality. Obviously, there's mention about our responsibility and the responsibility of the Environment Agency in there, but obviously tying into this would be Southern Water. How do they? I guess what is their link into this framework? Is there a formal link into this framework at the moment, or is?
At the moment, there's not a formal link for Southern Water in this framework, which is numerous reasons we do want to review this framework quite soon, because it is outdated for the needs that we need at the moment as a council and to fit in with our corporate plan and policies. In respect of sewage overflows and issues going out into the water, Southern Water are required by 2030 to reduce their overspills and overflows to nearly 100%. And as such, we are currently working on a memorandum of understanding with Southern Water for surface water SUDs and reducing the amount of surface water that gets within the combined sewers, which will reduce the overall amount of pressure on their systems and thereby also reduce the amount of storm overflows of sewage into our coastal areas.
Thanks, thank you.
I have nothing at this stage to ask. There'll be a number of things, but they'd be too long at this stage. I may follow those up separate. Well, I will follow those up separately. It comes to me to say thank you very much, Natasha and Alistair, for being around for so long and answering so coherently, even after quite a long lag. I think that we can say that we've looked at the beach management framework and recognise that you will be looking at that further to extend the scope and to bring it up to date. If we can move on then to the LGA peer review action plan. I have my doubts that we can give this the proper attention that this deserves at this stage. And it's clear that my colleagues also agree on that, I'm afraid. And I do apologise for that. I suppose I can ask the one obvious question, which is, there is a lot of work which has gone into this within the departments. The first question, two questions. The first one is, are you on target for what you have planned to do? That's a very easy answer, isn't it? That was a nod of the head. Yes, they are on target. Two, what is the biggest hurdle that we face at this moment?
I was going to sort of like approach this as the portfolio holder. There's been some real radical changes within the planning department in the last 2.5 years. I think one of the keys for me that came forward from the peer review was the importance to improve trust, learning and customer service. And I think for me, and I'm sure Ollie will endorse this, this has been a priority over the last few years. And I think that there has been significant improvements. One of the things that I've had some really positive feedback about are the Wednesday workshops that are now open. The Wednesday sessions for members of the public to come in, visit the planning office, because one of the major concerns that people were having was that the planning department is fairly faceless. Well, we don't have anybody on the desk anymore, but to be able to put a face now to the planning department has been really welcomed. It's not only for people that has questions about their planning applications, it's also for people that want to have work done to actually speak to a human being. One of the concerns that I had was our senior management team, Sarah, Russell, Ollie, are spending so much time responding to emails from stakeholders, and I felt that if there was an opportunity to have that face-to-face approach, then that would save a lot of time for the team, which has really helped. The Wednesday workshops, which is something else I've referred to, led by initially John Medland, who's chairman of the planning committee, but has been taken on by Warren Drew, has been really, really helpful. It's helped to increase people's understanding of planning issues, also allows members of the planning committee to dig beneath the surface. I think one of the concerns that I always had with planning committee was they could, they would look at the applications, but not necessarily understand planning policy. And now we're moving to a committee system in future. It is good to see the planning committee having some involvement in how the service develops in the next few years. And that is something that the peer review wanted to work on. And I think we've made some real inroads there. I'm going to hand over to Ollie, because I know Ollie has pursued this with so much enthusiasm. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Ollie for doing that.
Firstly, that's very kind, Paul. Thank you very much. Just thinking on the question that you've asked there, Chair, in terms of what are the biggest hurdles we face at the moment, I've just been thinking about that, and I think I can probably break those down to 3 headline, simple, quick areas. Delivery of significant change whilst also delivering business as usual. Planning issues, and be they planning applications or planning enforcement actions or bringing forward a new local plan, as we know, will always evoke very strong feelings. So it is a very difficult sort of environment that you're working in anyway. And then sort of semi-linked to that, and something that Paul has already mentioned as one of the things that we really want to try and do, and really came out from the peer review, is about that, trying to rebuild trust and through understanding of the work that we do, and that is proving to be a very difficult area to get stuck in and make strides in, because we're finding a lot of people, for whatever reason, be that they don't like the outcome of decisions or are just deeply sceptical and suspicious, are often very negative and very quick to criticise, make unsubstantiated allegations about officers, the classic brown envelopes, etc., etc. So it is really, we work in a very difficult space at the best of time, but we are working very hard through on revised governance structures, as you would have seen in the report, to start tackling that and to shine a greater light on some of the work, more of the work that we do, so people understand it. And hopefully when people actually understand it, whilst they still might not like it, they might then accept it. And we can try and build that trust that way and give that greater visibility and engage more. Thank you, Chair.
I think it's distinctly unfair, and I apologise for you having insufficient time to actually give us the detail that we would probably have liked, and I suspect that there will be a number of questions that will have come out of this. So what I would suggest is that we have got that basic understanding now, that you are on target, that you know that what the immediate hurdles are. So that's something. I would suggest that we will be going to the existing program that we've got, whatever it's called, forward planning, that we've already got that set up, and that we would look to bring this back for perhaps an extended discussion, if that would be appropriate, which I think most.
I think, Chair, it ought to be on the next meeting to give them fair opportunity to represent themselves properly.
Fine. Then we will do that and make sure that that is on the programme. Now, we have that seems fair enough, right? It is now 15:15. We agreed to the extension to 15:15, so we'll now stop the meeting. Thank you very much for everybody who's attended, and thank you very much for the officers and members of the Alliance who've made time and answered questions carefully, which I think